In third dimension, an outrageous statement, you do not have choice. What I mean by that is the backpack says, don't do this, don't do this. And all of a sudden, because you have so much attention on what you don't want, the law of attraction basically says, you wake up in the morning, well, here I can see what you hold your attention on. Let me give you more in a different size, shape, and color. What we do is we step into our next morning, and on your doorstep is something that's in your backpack reshaped itself. And what we do is we go right into present time, but it's, oh my God, this isn't supposed to be happening. You're in present time, but you're reacting to the past, circular time, bringing your past right in front of you into your future next.
That's really interesting. So what I'm hearing there is that was that second piece that you're talking about with circular time, because I now, having done a handful of these podcasts, interestingly, I've started to come to the awareness that our 3D consciousness is just mapping out linear time for us to be able to have an experience. But it's really just the app that we're running in many ways, touch wood. But if behind the operating system, time actually has a very different construct. And so what you're saying is today we've sort of we wake up, we turn the app on, and the app's got we haven't cleared a cache. The cache is still loaded with all this, right? Sorry, yeah, yes. Continue. So there's linear time, circular time, because you also mentioned simultaneous time, the fourth aspect, and the unexplainable nature. But yeah, please continue, yeah, as you were saying.
So let's move into the fourth dimension. See, right now you hear people talking about third dimension, fifth dimension. What happened to the fourth dimension? Well, fourth dimension is a very interesting experience because it is not physical. There is no physicalness in this fourth dimension. It's a thought realm. Now, I'll get to this in a minute. I said thoughts are electrical, emotions are magnetic. We'll get there in a second. But this thought realm is where you dream, daydream, night dream. It's where you create the construct of the thought and the intention and then bring it into physicalness. Now, but the fourth dimension is very simple in a way. Fourth dimension is present time. Like right now, we're in present time. We're not thinking about breakfast this morning. We're not thinking about tomorrow's, adventure. You and I and everybody right here are right here, present time. In this fourth dimensional aspect of present time, two other things happen that make it quite amazing. You have choice. Here, would you like to have pizza or spaghetti for dinner tonight? You go, I'll have the spaghetti. You go right into present time, you make a decision, and you set it in motion. So fourth dimension, present time, choice, and an interesting word, paradox. Now, this one is really important because what it basically says is what was true a moment ago may not be true anymore, and what was false may be false no more. Now, what it does, it gives you permission to change the game board around. It gives you permission to simply step back and say, well, I ate that candy bar, but I choose no longer to hold this vibration of guilt in my space. I'm in present time where I only exist, and I'm choosing to reconfigure my attention points. There's something called the fourth ray of creation. We can get to that later, but it does something very simple. It just simply, it says, you say, I want this to work this way. And this fourth ray says, okay, I'll put it together and hold it in place until you tell me to take it apart and you no longer need it. Now, let's just call that a concept, but it's more. It's the thing that holds the magnetisms to the thought. It's the thing that holds the passion and the joy to the idea. It's the thing to where I have an idea, I want to jump off this rock, and then you jump. It's the thing that holds everything together, the fourth ray, until you say, I no longer need this. Now, would that be an interesting concept? Just, I no longer need to hold this guilt, this blame, this. What if in fourth dimension, present time, I have choice? I could look at my backpack and say, all these things that happened when I was 8, 10, 15, 20, I'm still guilty about my divorce that happened 25 years ago. I'm still sad because my mother died 15 years ago. Well, let's take that apart. Your mother died 15 years ago. Is being sad right now in this conversation of value to you? And the answer is no. Would you like to say to that fourth ray, I don't need to hold on to this any longer. I can let it go. And that electromagnetic field of the thought and the power of the emotion all of a sudden just simply demagnetizes and is gone. It is that simple, except simple sometimes is not easy.
Yeah, I can hear the truth in simple not necessarily being easy echoing around in my head.
So here's where that word paradox comes into play. If I can allow what was true a minute ago to no longer be true for me, what was false no longer to be false for me, right here in present time, the question is, do all these things have value to me? Guilt, blame. And the answer is, if you really just pause right here, I guarantee you that a whole portion of your backpack in this instant, in this conversation, is gone. Because you just made a decision that's like, wow, this is interesting. You mean I can just let it go? Yes. Just like that? Yes. And something inside your brain says, wow, that would be cool. Gone. The memories that are not yours, the events that really are not yours, did you clean the spaghetti off the fork for your dinner last night, goes away. The example is it wasn't clean, but I put it away anyway. Goes away, just simply goes away.
It feels like the fourth ray, a really cool way to work with it could be through intention. It's just what I'm hearing, but I also just want to continue to double click on the time, because you've mentioned linear time, you've discussed circular time now. That was and so what's simultaneous time?
Well, so let's take this fourth dimension piece and make sure we kind of hear it first. So choice, present time right now, and what was true in the past, false in the past, doesn't have to be true or false right this minute. That's a huge place. There's another component. You think from two places. You think from the rational mind. Now, that rational mind is the tool you've been using to take care of me, keep me out of trouble, don't do this. We've given so much responsibility to the rational mind that it really has contradictory messaging in that rational mind space. Do this, don't do this. But we also have that internal guidance system in the heart. And when you start to be able to clear away all of the backpack, the I'm not okay, I don't deserve, they don't like me, I failed, when you realize you're perfectly fine and all those things were events to allow you to choose more wisely in this moment, and that's all. You don't have to carry the guilts and the blames and the other people's opinions. And right now you can say, how am I doing? Without all of that, a giant smile comes across your face. It's like, wow. But see, that smile, that's the space where I'm in love and I am the creator. And this is really good. And I like myself and I'm having fun. And this is great. It's all a smile. And see, in that space, thinking from the heart, there's excitement in the heart space. And the heart begins to vibrate. In my definition, people ask the question, what's the difference between a feeling and an emotion? Great question. So, but my answer is not 100% correct, but it is a reference point. Emotions have edges: anger, resentment, jealousy. Feelings: gratitude, excitement, appreciation, grace, peace, no edges.
Hey there, Inspired Evolutionary. If you absolutely loved this, well then here's a full conversation with this guest on the Inspired Evolution podcast. Check it out now.